How many times as a bass fisherman have you caught a stick fish? Hey everybody, it's Dalton. I got out here this morning and the topwater bite wasn't bad. The bait I used is the Whopper Plopper Silent. It's the small one. I think it's a size 90. Used a bright yellow. And one of the things I want to share with you is when you're throwing a topwater bait, I throw virtually all of my topwater baits on braid. Today I used 20-pound braid, but I tied about a 6-inch, 14-pound monofilament leader. It really helps, particularly with walking baits, that you don't get your treble hooks all tangled up in your line. Makes a big difference. But it also helps with the Whopper Ploppers, because a lot of times when you cast them, the treble hooks get wrapped around the braid. Braid's notorious for that. Tie a little piece of monofilament on there, and that's all you need. He was over there splashing. Right over here they were chasing. Splash, I hit right on top of him. Got one of the smaller ones in that group. I think there were some bigger ones. Huh? Well, hey, it's the first one. I'll take him. One of the baits that worked really well for me today, I started fishing shallow. Wasn't getting any, but I noticed some jumping. And there was a break outside of that shallow water. It was a little flat, had a little break, got a little deeper, 8 to 20 feet. And of course, they could not resist the NED Rig, green pumpkin. Nice little chunky dude. Excited there, buddy. Nice little bass. It's kind of a example right there of something that happens. He hit it the first time, and all I did was stopped it. And I left it there for about 3 or 4 seconds, and I started moving it again, and he came right back for it. You know, I think sometimes the key to bass fishing, and I can become over-reliant on my electronics. And I think a lot of us do that. But sometimes it's just fishing what you see. I saw a little group of bait just kind of surfacing right there. Just a small bait ball. And I threw right over it, and nothing happened. So I threw to the outside of it and I was able to catch one. And what they're doing, instead of bucking up against the shore, they're actually out here offshore a bit in about, well, probably 8 or 9 foot of water right out here. And they're just kind of feeding right here. So sometimes just use your instincts. You know, electronics are great, but they can be a hindrance because it doesn't always tell you what's way out there, and it's good just to throw it. I use a Ned rig a lot of times as a search bait. And if I'm catching smaller ones, I'll keep using it. But if I catch, say, a bigger one, then I'll put this down and I'll throw a bigger bait out. And so you can use a Ned rig as a search bait to get bites and start kind of seeing what kind of bass you're dealing with as far as size. Stop it. Spunky little bass. They're hanging right off these breaks. There's a little break out here that kind of falls off into a little bit deeper water. A little school of baby fish surfacing up here. And that's how I'm getting them right now. Ned Rig's bailing me out again. See that fish he spit out? I mean, he's not very long, but look how fat he is. That's a nice, healthy little bass right there. Maybe 1.25 pounds, 1.5 pounds. Keeper in a tournament. But yeah, they're just all out here feeding on these bait fish and spitting them up like crazy. There's one floating right there, a little bait fish, about the same length as this Ned rig, so it seemed to have picked the right thing for this area. They're not hitting anything else. You know, if they're not hitting anything else, throw a Ned rig. Lots of fun. Now my setup for the Ned rig today is I've got an Okuma EVX rod. This is the 6'10", 15-pound braid, but I used an 8-pound test fluorocarbon leader. My favorite weight size for a Ned rig is a 1/10 ounce. And so I buy a bunch of these, and a lot of times I buy them with the little weed guards on them. And if I don't need the weed guard, I just cut it off. But the 1/10 ounce to me, at least in my fishing, is the best for the Ned rig. So a Ned rig can bail you out. I like these mock crush reels by Luz. It has a good handle, good and sturdy, but very light and very strong, has a good drag system. Get you a good setup, throw you some Ned rigs, catch a bunch of bass. I hope this helps. I'll talk to you soon.